Hello and welcome all of you. Welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the featured news for today, that is 23rd November 2021. Today's featured news is on Ecological Threat Report. Ecological Threat Report, which has been released by a global think tank, that is Institute of Economics and Peace. Right. So before we get into this, I would like to have a quick attendance of who are present in the live session. All right, just say hello and I will understand all of you. Right. Hello, Anonymous. Hello to you. Now, do you know that that by the year 2050, there'll be global demand of food raised by 50%, 50% raise of demand of food by the year 2050. And more than 50% of people will be living in water stressed areas. In fact, it is far more than this. It is more than 50, well more than 60%, but it is for the sake of memory that I'm talking of more than 50%. So more than 50% going to live in water stress by the year 2050, and there'll be 50% more demand of food by the year 2050, right? This is what this report talks of. And is this not ecologically threatening? Yes, this is. And that is why this report talks of 5 important ways in which our complete ecosystem is getting threatened. That means human-centric ecosystem getting threatened. We will understand them in 2 different categories for understanding and simplification of memory. And we will also understand some important concepts, some important recommendations which have been given by the report itself. What should be done so that these kind of crises can be handled well. Some of them are impending crisis, unavoidable, how to handle them. And if the crisis can be avoided, what to do to avoid them, right? So along with that recommendations, we will also understand the resilience of the earth systems. So we will understand what is the natural resilience and how it is getting impacted because of these kind of irreversible or reversible changes, right? So thank you for acknowledging, friends. Hello, Anonymous. Hello again to you. Hello, Bhavani. Hi, Sam. Hi, Ashish. Hi, Krishnendu. Hello, Divyansh. Hi, Priti. Hello, Amlan. Right? Quite a few of you in the live today. Very good. Very few people I see in the featured news, but this also becomes as important as the current affairs discussion, because here we get an insight into how we have to actually understand the article in totality and how to cover it, how this article can be covered in the questions, right? So this becomes very important, right? Both of them are important, but this gets focused, and that is about gaining knowledge. So when we talk of this report, the Ecological Threat Report, let me give you a quick background so that we are able to discuss the question later. Now, they have tried to analyze the data of almost all the population of the earth, some of the other mechanisms, not direct survey, indirect surveys, right? And they have divided the 5 threats that are there, that is food risk, water risk, population pressure, climate change, and natural disasters, in 2 parts. I'll repeat: food risk, water risk, population increase, climate change, and natural disasters. See, some of them are human created, right? Maybe climate change is also human created, but we can actually divide them. But population pressure is not natural, no, we have created it. So we will divide them in 2 categories. One is natural scarcity, resource scarcity, and the second one is natural disasters and climate change. So when you decide to divide them in 2 categories, the first category will be of food risk, water risk, and population pressure, and the second one will be on climate change and natural disasters. So this is how they have divided the ecological threat to mankind in the coming years, right? So the reason why this threat is happening, because the human activity and planet's ecology, they are not in sync with each other, right? Let me give you an example, and you will be able to understand through this image itself. Now, I would definitely want you to draw this kind of image in exams at the relevant places. So this is a vicious cycle. This is a vicious cycle which says of resource scarcity. What happens is, when there is resource scarcity, because the demand for food is more, the demand for water is more, there is increased population, there is increased climate change vulnerability, there are more disasters, there is resource scarcity, right? So if there is resource scarcity, it leads to lesser resources per person, absolutely true. And because of that, there'll be more demand for resources, there'll be instability, political, economic, social instability, high pollution, high population, and decreased performance of the whole economy. This will lead to less peacefulness. this will lead to less resilience of the natural resilience and the human resilience of the whole ecosystem, right? So more of conflicts will lead to less peacefulness, and then this will also lead to less capacity for ecology to restore itself, be it the artificial ecology of money management, or be it the natural ecosystem which is trying to recreate or refurbish or replenish itself, right? And then it will lead to further resource scarcity. Why will it lead to resource scarcity? If we have breakdown of the whole system, we will not be able to find resource, we will not be able to create food, we will not be able to find the resources available also, because there is increased these kind of problems. So one good example is Afghanistan. If there are human issues, then we will not be able to explore the iron ores there or cobalt resources there. Simple. So this is the vicious cycle of resource scarcity, right? It is driven by ecological threats, by human threats. All those 5 that I mentioned, right? They can be more, but this report talks of 5 of them, right? Do remember to create this. So very, very beautiful image. Now, the number of natural disasters, see, it has grown a lot in these coming times. And the carbon footprints, the human ecological footprints. Imagine, we don't want a world in which human footprints are left over in the coming thousands of years, right? We don't want that world. But human ecological footprints are getting left over. We have studied that in plastic pollution. It will be there. Humans will die in thousands of years, but plastic will still remain, right? So they will be indicator of anthropocenic era. So these are the kind of issues which are leading to the increased threat and exposure to threat. So one, not in sync, that I said, not in sync. This is one. The second one is the footprint that we have is increasing. The natural disasters there are increasing, and all of them are contributing to the vicious cycle, right? So this is how you can include this in your introduction in case you are writing the summary for this, right? And see, this also leads to more demand, more consumerism, right? So this is one. Now, conflict and ecological threats. Now, there's a cyclical relationship between conflicts and ecological threats. If ecology is threatened, there'll be more conflicts. If conflicts are happening, then there'll be more ecological threats. Both of them are mutually reinforcing and mutually degrading, degenerating. Can we have a cycle exactly opposite to each other? Yes, we can have. In fact, the Earth systems has got a natural cycle to restore itself. And that cycle is the cycle of resilience. What we will call it as is the positive peace. Now, very important term, must note kind of term, concept of positive peace, concept of resilience of ecology, right? So positive peace is defined as the attitude, institutions and structures which lead to social harmony and economic development. Asterisk, a major asterisk here, you can use this in your answer writing at relevant places. So the level of positive peace also decreases if we have scarcity of resources. If we go through a vicious cycle like this, where there is more conflict and where there's ecological constraints. So if the society could have some resilience, that will also decrease. This positive peace will decrease in societies to handle these kind of ecological shocks. This is what the report has also mentioned. So getting back, the impact of COVID also has been high, right? So I was looking at pre-COVID times, a couple of years back, I was reading the newspaper, and in a place like Somalia where there is a perennial food scarcity, you know what happens is, even if there is a 10% increase in demand of food, the prices of food will not rise 10%. The prices of food will rise 50 to 60%, even in case the demand exceeds only 10%. See, this is how the economy works. So there is increased food insecurity because of COVID times, because of migration of humans, because of forced displacement of people, because of natural disasters. You talk it and there it is. Right? And what does it result into? More conflicts, more scarcity of resources. So this is where this report talks of survival of humans for future times. As I mentioned, by 2050, 50% more demand for food, 50% of humans live in water scarce regions, right? People living in regions which are deprived of water, right? So food security and conflict, you will be drawing mutually reinforcing cycles. For example, so when we talk of conflicts and we talk of resource scarcity, right? So you can draw a map like, simple image like this, mutually reinforcing, right? Mutually reinforcing. And this is how this will explain to you and to the examiner, that you understand that they are helping each other degenerate the cycle, right? So this is another one. Many of the countries will be living in ecological hotspots. Ecological hotspots where the countries are at extreme risk and least level of resilience. Even if they had resilience, now they will not have any resilience to be able to withstand the pressures of climate change, to be able to withstand the pressures of human footprints. So very simple of this example is, if you look at some of the YouTube images of how the earthquake is handled in Japan. So the buildings are so made, such creatively made, they're so resilient that even if there is a 7.5 magnitude earthquake in the Richter scale, the whole building is moving, it will not fall off. It will not fall off. It will keep moving. People will also fall off. Building will not fall off. This is what is called as high resilience of the building. But in case of these kind of disasters, right, the resilience of the whole ecosystem will not withstand a lot. This is what this report is trying to present, right? Because we are also increasing in population, the food demand, water demand is increasing. We will not be able to withhold this kind of issues, right? So this is what the editorial, article says. It says, it also talks about two countries, India and China. Major populations, right? Also major emitters, China being number 1 and India being number 3rd. So major emitters, major places for population, and this is a right mix for ecological threat, right? We just studied these threat, no, population rise and the kind of climate change happening because of the emissions. So this is a recipe for disaster. Both the countries have already said that the coming 20 years they will face huge threats, and this is where increased role of bureaucracy comes into role. This is why nowadays there is increased focus on climate change also, right? Instead of governance, which is centric towards delivery of services, making them more efficient, new topic has come, climate change, and a huge amount of government workforce, its finance, functionaries, funds are being allocated to things like climate change, right? Because 20 years hence, we will have a different kind of ecosystem around climate change, right? So this is why we have to develop better resilience around earth systems. I kindly request you to remember this concept of positive peace, the concept of resilience of a system which gets demotivated, which gets degraded because these kind of vicious cycle, right? Now the report talks of important recommendations. See, we have spoken of the problem at large, but we also have to be solution-oriented solutions. So one is to draw integrated structures. Just like, remember, if you were there in the last video, we spoke of permaculture. So this is one complete integrated system, placing the farmer along with the consumer. So ensuring that all the resources are not expended, they are spent back to where they belong to. So integrated systems can lead to better resilience of the complete structure, right? So area specific integration should be there. Simplified chain of command, simplified supply chain, better allocation of resources, and faster decision making. This is one. So this leads to social resilience and ecological resilience. Integrated structures. To remember, the second one is ecological solutions. Rather than creating artificial solutions which are chemical oriented, which are away from ecology, can we have ecological solutions to the ecological problems? Yes, why not? Why not? We can use these many of the tribal methods to be able to restore our ecology. We have discussed them in case studies. So in case you remember some of them, put them down here. This is where you put them. So we are talking of the organic cultivation that is happening in Sikkim. We are talking of what is happening in Meghalaya. People are using indigenous variety of seeds. We have discussed all of these in case studies. This is where you put them when you have an answer on ecological restoration, right? And the third is empowering the local communities. So instead of people having from abroad, can we have the local communities also at micro levels getting empowered, small and sustainable levels? So these are simple solutions, but you will have to have them in the mind when it is in the examination or when somebody is asking. What are them? Integrated structures, ecological solutions, and empowering local communities. Simple and steady, but see, so powerful that you might even not remember in the exam. Integrated structures, Speak it out. You speak it out and you will start remembering it. Integrated structures, ecological solution, and empowering local communities. Integrated, empowering, local, and ecological, right? So these three words become the key for your recommendations. All right. Okay. So the question for today will be on the same. The question says, discuss the reasons for rise in ecological threats to the world. What can be the steps taken to build ecological resilience? So when we speak of ecological threats, see, I have repeatedly told you the question will not be on this report. The question will be on all the data that was presented through this report. And one day I will actually show you on internet what are the kind of articles we have covered. Such amazing articles related to all of it. Polity, governance, we have covered climate change, geography, right? Economy. We'll discuss this. Paper 2 and 3 largely gets covered through current affairs. So when we talk of ecological threats, look at the context in which the article has come up. This report has come up. So context is the increase in these kind of data where there'll be more requirement of food, there'll be more scarcity of water. You can put this as input of data, right? When we talk of gaining credible data. So this is where you can make a case study also of this. So this is one, the data. And then you will talk of the issues that this report talks of, the 5 issues that we have spoken of, right? 5 issues, or club them into 2, human related and natural related. And then what are the things that are leading to further degradation? What is that? We spoke of the degenerative cycle, a very beautifully created article. So you should try to draw that complete that block diagram, degenerative block diagram. So these are the issues, and then we talk about recommendations or the ways we can change it. And you should also remember the keywords. Remember the keyword that we spoke of, right? Peace, right? The resilience. So this is how the whole framework of the this information is, but this will not be reflected completely in this question. What you have to discuss is the reasons for rise in ecological threats of the world. You will not be discussing every component, but you will be discussing these, the rise in ecological threats because of these 5 factors, right? So this is one. What can be the steps taken to build ecological resilience? The 3 things that we spoke of, right? So we spoke of integrated systems, ecology, and the local communities, decentralization. There is the answer for you. Now, we have Ashish Anand saying, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Be a part of it, buddy. Be a part of it. We meet daily from Monday to Friday in the evening at 6 o'clock, and we discuss in 2 videos. One is the current affairs and gazette video in which we discuss current affairs, and the second one is on answer writing and one featured news, that is the one that you're seeing right now. Ashish says, this is the first time I am able to join you live as I work as a district employment officer in Bihar. So don't get time, but I always watch you later. All right, thank you. Thank you. Your initiative is great, awesome. Thank you. Model answer. All right. So anonymous, we have discussed the model answer once again, right? Ashish, I really thank you for being a part of this initiative. It is going to help each one of us, that I can assure. And right now we come to the conclusion of this gazette discussion and current affairs discussion. We will meet you tomorrow evening again. And till then, all you got to do is prepare notes on this, because every weekend you will be revising it, right? There is no mechanism I can see right now that you are revising it, but I will try that we have a mechanism. And I don't want to know that, towards the end of the month, Amlan, Bhabani, Sam, Preeti, Ashish, any of you have not prepared notes, because you are the regular ones. I would definitely want to encourage myself knowing that you have jotted down, right? So, all right, Ashish says, I watch every video. Don't make me blush. I hope that the content is good enough. And if you find some recommendations, do put in your inputs, no? We will be incorporating them. So somebody recommended farm reforms, right? We will try to incorporate some of the other segments in some feature news, because farm sector cannot be covered in one video. We will cover them, one by one. And once it is in news, you will be able to have them every time. This is what I every time want to tell each of you. If you be a part of this current affairs initiative for 10 to 12 months, COP will get repeated again the next year. They will have the same issues of finances, funds, developing versus developed, common but differentiated responsibilities. We will again have WTO ministerial the next year. They will raise the same issues. It has been raised for the last 20 years, and many of them have not even found the ultimate conclusions. Leave that. We will also have many of the international crises happening again year after year. Delhi pollution will happen again the next year, most probably. So point being, if you be a part of the initiative for around a year time, next year the struggle will not be this much. If you prepare the notes once, you will only be updating alongside the video. You will not have to struggle as much. This is the point I'm making. I have done this mistake of not having prepared the notes, having studied a lot of things, but not having prepared the notes. And then during exam times, revision was the key, which I could not do. And that is the reason I want you to not only gain knowledge, but to utilize it in examination. That is the ultimate thing. So in this initiative, you will have to spend less time in gaining knowledge, more time in the way you will be able to utilize in the exam. That is why be a part of it. And if you like this initiative enough, share some love. These likes are enough. Some comments, encouraging remarks, anyway, they go a long way. All right, so thank you, Anonymous. Ashish says, I won't be present for the next 3 days. I'm going to attend a friend's wedding. All right, but notwithstanding a wedding, you got to be reading your current affairs from somewhere or the other. So make it a part of your religion, that you are eating, that you are sleeping, that you're also being a part of some current affairs if you are preparing for UPSC examination. All right, so thank you everybody for being a part, and I appreciate your discipline here and your consistency, your grit. I will see you tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you, Ashish. Thank you.